I'm so excited to be with you because guess what? I have two secrets to share. And I just ask you, if you would, go ahead and open your workbook to where it says beautiful. So I didn't tell Christopher and Jeff, but I changed the name of the event, if you didn't notice. Broken to better to beautiful, because beautiful is our secret. And that's what we're going to cover tonight. For those people who are doing DVD, CD, downloading from MP3, I would ask them to write the word beautiful vertically, as you have in your workbook. Now, what you've heard Jeff say some of the same things that I'm going to say about people who, when I told them we were doing this event, or for those who are listening to this, I would just share there were people who said to me, but I'm not broken. Nothing's really happened. I'm going to share some things tonight that are pretty unique to me, but I believe they transcend to all of us. So I want to talk about beautiful and what beautiful really means. When I look at our lives, my concern with all of us is, again, I'm a marketing person. I work with brands. I success coach people. I work with large corporations. You know what's weird? The things that hold them back aren't marketing issues. They're the same kind of shadows and curses and tough stuff. So can you share with me, if I were to take a hot poker and you get 3 words and I press it into your flesh, it'll be there permanently. What 3 words would you choose? Anybody? It'll be your brand. I'm branding you for the rest of your life. What would you choose? I knew Jeff would have one. Go ahead. Authentic. Okay, authentic. Vulnerable and loving. What would you choose?
I made a difference.
I made a difference, and you do, because I know her. She's amazing. So when we look at our brand, I don't want you to get this crazy, but look at this guy. I think he's a marketing genius. I'm not asking you to brand it on the back of your head, but I think that we all have ideas of what our brand is, what our true character is, how we are authentic. But mine changed, and I did have a moment of impact. So I want to talk about it. I was, as my slides say, the good friend, the positive person, definitely courageous. That's who I was. I grew up in a very nice home, great family. Nothing particularly crazy happened. My dad did say to me when I attended the University of Akron, Katherine, you need to take off those rose-colored glasses. Well, I want to share with you, my senior year of college, I'm going into 25 credit hours. Yeah, I convinced them to let me do it. Double major. I'm a student leader. I've been a leader in high school. You know, when you're a leader and something happens to you, everybody thinks you're okay. Can you raise your hand, a little amen on that? They think you're okay. Everything's going to be all right. But you know, 25 credit hours, the lead in the senior theater production. I am the person who's in charge of recruitment for over 2,000 women for a women's organization. And I have an amazing little sister. She is my little sister, not by blood, but she is my little sister who needs me. And I'm not really there. I'm busy. She's got to understand. I'm busy. And my pledge sister, so loyal, never judgmental, always there for me. Called me a couple times that summer, but you know, I was just really busy. I just had a lot going on. Well, for me, Labor Day weekend, 1986, my 2 friends are together. I'm supposed to be with them. I'm not. I'm too busy. They drive under a bridge. Guys throw a rock. And those of you in Northeast Ohio maybe know this story. Here's what happened. The windshield shatters. My friends are hurt, and these guys come to offer their help. They didn't know they threw the rock. My world changed. I became this person. Take a look at my slides. I have itch, but it really rhymes with witch, and it starts with a B. I cut off all my relationships. I hated the world. The rose-colored glasses came flying off, friends. Everything changed because of how I handled it. I was a coward. You know, like Peter in the Bible who denied Jesus 3 times. He acted like he didn't know him. This was a national case. It was all over the media. And you know what's interesting? I acted like I didn't know about it, acted like I didn't even know him. That was my coping mechanism. I denied it, and I became this person who cut off all relationships. But here's the thing that I did that I want to share with you. If you can see my slide, it says, what is your curse? What is your shadow? Between the calling hours of Wendy's funeral, I was with my sorority sisters, probably like 6 of them, and we're sitting in the car, and it'd been 2 sisters, 2 funerals, all over the media all over our house. Our worlds were turned upside down. People asking us questions. And we were literally between the calling hours, and I just remember us sobbing I don't know if you've ever been with people and you're literally sobbing, wailing. And I don't know what got into me, because those of you who know me know that I try to respond. I try not to react. But I was in the passenger seat, and I took from my elbow to my wrist, and I slammed it against the window, and I said, "We will never be happy again." I put a curse on us. And 2 years ago, we got together after I wrote my book to help people about this whole story and this journey. And I said, "Guys, I cursed us. We went into our lives. We took this into our marriages. We took this into our workplace. We tried to be super successful, but we hid it. We didn't talk about it." And the killer kept coming up in the media. He was everywhere. He was the guy who said he was too fat to be executed. He was on main pages of the newspaper. My company would do a press conference. We would make page 4. He would make page 1. So he was just in our lives, and we just lived to try and just act like it didn't happen. Some of my sisters told me that what they did was they took it not only into their marriages, but some of them dropped out of school. Some of them failed out of school. Some of them got married for protection. I almost failed out of school. I didn't get out of bed. So I want to share with you one of the things that got me, that you cannot let get you. And friends, I don't know what you've been through. I don't know if you're in the club that I'm in, but I'm in a club that's called People Who've Lost People to Murder. I talk with people all the time. People read my book in other countries, write to me, email me. Guys, we're in a club. It's a club I never wanted to be in. But it made it worse because of this word. You guys, if you're following along, B is brand, E is expectation. Expectations killed us, and let me tell you why. Expectations were tough for one reason and one reason only. I didn't have expectations of how I was going to get through this. I expected, like the picture that you see, it's beautiful irises. And irises are loyal, and they represent friendship, right? We're such visual people. On the outside, everything looks good. Guys, I took this picture next to a KFC that's near a crack house in Cleveland. So I can tell you, things aren't always as they appear. We tried to be strong. We tried to be sisters. We tried to be there for them. But here's what we got in expectation. My slide shows it. It was judgment. See, I was supposed to be with my friends. I'd gotten in a fight with Dawn 3 days before. I wasn't there. And there were people who came up to me and said, "Katherine, why weren't you there? Where were you?" So I was judged. And if you go through anything in your life, I don't care if it's a divorce, I don't care if it's a job loss, I don't care what you're going through when you're listening to me speak. There are people who care, and there are people who are curious. And you need to know the difference. More of my life I spent having expectations, trying to fix people, trying to get them to come to my way of thinking. Do you see? So what I was doing was not only them letting me judge me, is me judging myself. And that was even worse. So I just want to share with you something you'd be surprised about. Not a lot of people know this about me. Jeff and Christopher do. After the murders had happened, I was very dependent on my boyfriend. And he had to go everywhere with me. I couldn't go between buildings. I was scared to be out in public. It was really devastating. Well, he broke up with me because, I treated him like he was my personal slave, let's be honest. So what happened was I dated a guy who gave me so much attention. He was so attentive, and he needed to be with me all the time, and I thought that was great, until it became verbally and then physically abusive. I don't think you look at me from the type of home I'm from and the parents who really invested in me to make a choice like that, to put myself in that kind of place. See, I believed in him. I believed in us as a couple. And what was wrong with that was I was believing the wrong thing. I was putting energy in the wrong place. So I want to share with each one of you guys, it doesn't matter when people say to you, see the bright side, see the positives, there's always an opportunity. How do you find that when your friends have been murdered? And I'm all of 21 years old, and the world has changed. I didn't trust anyone. I hated God. I was in a very, very bad place. So you could tell me, ask for help. Seems logical, right? Well, I didn't want to ask for help. I'm going to ask you to not ask for help. I'm going to ask you to seek. I sought someone who's sitting in the front row. She's my angel, MJ. I was putting all my energy in the wrong place. And you know what's interesting? All these years later, because it's pretty obvious I'm not in college anymore, and this was a long time ago, but I can tell you that there were days I'd give the greatest speech. Work was wonderful. We'd shoot great commercials, have a great marriage with a great guy, and I'm crying the whole way home. 45 minutes, crying. What's missing? Something's wrong. I knew it. but I couldn't ask for the right kind of help because I was so focused on asking for help that I didn't think I need to seek the right people. And I'm so blessed that I have those people, and I know a lot of you have those people as well. But I want to challenge you with something. I want you to change your thought. If you look at the quote that I have on my screen, I will tell you that when I work with corporations or I'm working success coaching, most of people's problems aren't their technical skills. They're suffering from something. And until they figure out what that is, it affects everything they do, just like it did for me. So I want you to know this. When I was in college and this happened, I wasn't getting out of bed. I was a 3.95 GPA student, super successful at school, student leader. I'm the rock. I'm the go-to girl. Guess what? I'm not getting out of bed. I'm not going to class. What I want you to take away from this is I want you to change how you deal with people who go through things. My college instructor had 200 students when she was teaching my class. And you know what? She called me and said, Katherine, I need your talent in my class. She didn't say, I saw it on the news. Oh my gosh, Katherine, I can't believe this happened to you. Oh my gosh, how are you handling it, honey? She said, Katherine, I need you. That's how we deal with people. We engage. We bring in. My internship was at TV5 a month after my friend's murders. Do you think I wanted to do anything with media? I own a company that deals with media, but at that time, I hated media. They wanted the story, they wanted the details, they wanted how they were murdered, they wanted the trial, they wanted everything. And here I am, an intern at TV5, supposed to be loving the whole TV mode. Well, my boss, Terry Moyer, who's now at TV3, one of my mentors, what did she do? She said, Katherine, she knew everything. She saw it on the news, she knew. She said, Katherine, you're going to work with Wilma Smith. We're going to do a special assignment. What did she do? She engaged me, but she got me out of the danger zone. I want us to think differently in how we help people and how we help ourselves and how we engage. But one of my biggest problems, and I only solved it honestly after I wrote my book, I had to understand that surrender's not defeat. I couldn't be defeated anymore. You see, I feel I placed almost a curse because I branded what happened to us. The day in the car when I hit my hand on the window and I said, we'll never be happy again, I placed that. I needed to change it. My book has helped not only my sorority sisters, but other people who don't even know us. The curse is lifted. It happened, I get that. But at some point, it's a declaration. The curse is lifted. When I was able to do it, I didn't want to write this book. I kept saying, God, why am I writing this book? I don't want to tell people all this stuff. And it was so clear to me. So now what I do is something very physical. Remember I told you about my arm on the window, and I said, we'll never be happy again? It was a declaration, it was physical. I ask you to be physical. Something that I do now is I get on my knees before I go to bed. And I don't tell God, oh, I'd like this, and I'd like this, and I want this. What I do is I say, God, what's your will? Where am I supposed to be? What's my purpose? Where am I supposed to go? And that changed it because the curse is lifted. We have to surrender and understand surrender is not defeat. Now, this slide, the T in beautiful, is trajectory. Now, the last one was U, which was understand surrender is not defeat. Trajectory, my friends, is very interesting because I was a control girl, only till recently. I had my life all planned. Everything was set, and I was going to do this and get my MBA and all this stuff going on. Well, guess what? There were different plans in place. Plan A became Plan Z. Now, how can I explain this to you? I know it sounds very trite. You hear all the time that there's a natural flow. I want you to know something. Very, very visual for me. I'm a visual learner. I had a friend who was teaching me what's called takedown. It's a self-defense martial arts move. This person's a foot taller than me, probably 100 pounds more than me, and very strong. And guys, I'm like fighting. Oh yeah, I can get you down. I'm strong, I'll get you down. And I couldn't do it because I wasn't working with physics. I wasn't working with strategy. I wasn't working with the natural flow. What's against the natural flow in what you're doing? What's in the universe telling you? Where are you supposed to be? My trajectory completely and totally changed. In a moment, so does yours. And it doesn't have to be anything horrific. It can be that change that you want. But look at what I did. I put expectations from other people. I thought people would be really nice. When we lost our friends and at the funeral, I can't tell you the things that people said. Unbelievable. Things that we did not need to hear. So what do you let in your mind? What do you give energy to? That's what trajectory means to me. Now, the I in beautiful is for inquiry. Now, inquiry stands to me for appreciative inquiry. Appreciative inquiry changed my life. I had to do things differently because I had anger. I had to look at things in a different way. I had to find a way to make peace. Appreciative inquiry would have helped me in those days because it would be like saying this, Katherine, if you can just get through the next 12 months and it went well, what would that look like? But what did I do? I reacted to everything everybody said. There were days, friends, I would walk through campus and there was a guy, I remember we had a rock at Akron, they still have it, and some guy's sitting on the rock and he's telling the story about how my friends were murdered, and he says, Dawn got stabbed in the neck. I couldn't breathe. I was drowning. I couldn't keep walking. So what I did, I let that in instead of saying to myself, all right, Katherine, what do you need to do in the next 12 months to get through this? For some of you, I don't know what you're going through, but some of you, what do I have to do in the next week to get through this? What do I have to do in the next month to get through this? And then what you do is you put your mind on a vision of success. Because guys, what I would have done was I would have kept walking. Or I would have maybe spouted off and said, don't talk like that. I would have handled it different, right? Instead of taking what everyone was giving to me and taking it in, I needed to look at what my truth was. What was my appreciative inquiry? Now, I put this little baby dog picture up here just to like make you laugh and lighten the mood. It helps me remember that my heart and their hearts, my friends and what they've meant, that's love. See, that's the only way you get through any of this. I don't care if it's a job loss. I don't care if it's a marriage. I don't care what you're going through. It's, again, getting back to your appreciative inquiry, your thought for success. Guys, I even use it in business. I'll say to our clients, in 1 year, if we're drinking champagne and we're celebrating, what are we celebrating? And it lets them dream. It lets them discover. But it's all heart. Because, again, I don't go in and sell what I want to say. That's selfish. Selfless is when we say, what do we need? So start asking those questions of people. Think about this little puppy. Be all heart. Be the person who says, what does success look like to you? What do you want to have happen? Now, this one I have to be honest with you. This was tough. For you, you're just looking at a parking garage, right? So it seems like nothing. But when something crazy happens to you, and Brian could smile because Brian's been through this and he knows, sometimes things manifest in a weird way. And MJ and I talk about this a lot. Guys, my friends were not murdered in a parking deck, but for whatever reason, I could not walk through a parking deck. I just thought somebody was going to get me. Somebody was hiding under a car. Remember I told you about my boyfriend who I cut off all my relationships, but he had to like walk me everywhere? Well, he would walk me through parking decks because I have to interview. I'm now a senior in college. I need to go get a job. Well, my boyfriend breaks up with me. I have to get through the parking deck. So what I want you to write down with the F in beautiful is find your faith and be creative. Because here's what I had to do. I had to get through the parking deck to get to the building to get the interview, right? So I'm looking at all these cars. I'm scared to death. Most parking decks are kind of like dark and kind of crazy. Well, I decided that how I'm going to get through, my creative way to handle it was swear like a sailor. I'm going to walk through those cars, and I would say, I'm going to kick your butt. If you're under this car, I'm just going to kick you. And so, guys, I got through the parking deck. It worked every time, till one day. There's a guy sitting in his car. I didn't see him. He had his window down. So he's like seeing me, and here I am. I'm swearing, I'm like, I'm going to kill somebody if you try to kill me. So he gets out of the car and says, ma'am, are you okay? And I tell him my story. We laugh. We have a great time. The other day I went in a parking deck, and I was pulling up to go around to drive, and I thought, I hate parking decks. And I thought, no, you don't, Katherine. Think about the guy and the story and the funny day. And I'm okay. Do you see? So it's find your faith, be creative. So the F in beautiful is face that fear. Now, the last U in beautiful is what marketers use every day on you. We put things in your mind, and we tell you, if you get that Cadillac CTS, you'll be the happiest person in the world. And you need that car. My husband just bought a car. Isn't it funny, Craig, how we see that car everywhere now? Because we put it in our mind, and you see it. Understand the power of your reticular activating system. It's in the back part of your brain. Guys, I would get up in the morning, even after years after my friend's death, and think, oh my gosh, why wasn't it me? Why did Dawn and Wendy, they were so great. Why wasn't it me? You know? And that's what I put in my mind. I'm not good enough. I wasn't there. I should have been there. I was too busy. So understanding RAS is, what are you letting in your mind, friends? What's going in your mind today? Are you good enough, or are you beating yourself up? Now, for RAS, I want you to do this with me. 3 wishes. You get 3. Write them down now. What are 3 wishes? You've heard Chris talk, Jeff talk, me talk. What are 3 things you want? Oops, I got you. Marketers put things in your mind. Do you see what I just did? I made you think about what you want. See the power in that? Your 3 wishes, your success, what you want, where you're going to, that's using your mind correctly. Instead of the baggage, instead of the stuff that you carry with you. Now, the last one and my favorite is the L. Now, I want you to do something for me that revolves around your reticular activating system, and that is to declare a life of joy. Raise your hand if you know somebody, they live with joy. They're loving life. Little things don't get to them. Do you know somebody like that? Why can't that be you? That's what I started to say, and MJ helped me get there. I was putting so much energy in things that didn't matter. And I want to say to you that we can live a life of joy when we look at love. Because, friends, love always wins. Okay, not in tennis, and I'm going to call the USTA, Craig and I talked about that, and I'm going to tell them that they need to change that. But what do I take from my friends? I take love. Nobody's going to steal those memories from me. So I'd like you to look at my list, and that is brand, expectation. Take a look at your list. It is asking for help, understanding that surrender is not defeat. It also means the trajectory will happen, the universe and your flow, your God-given talent. Are you using it? What your Creator gave you. You may not think it's good enough, but I'm here to tell you that I want you to second guess yourself on that one. I want you to move right into inquiry and change the way in which you think and the way in which you work and the way in which you deal with people. Now, for you, I know facing your fear for each one of us is different. To one person, fear seems very silly. I have an employee who can't fly, and to some people that seems very silly. But we're getting to the core of that. We're taking the baby steps. She's getting there. So for all of us, we have some fear. When we face it creatively, look at me in the parking deck. That's how you get through it. And the U, powerful. Advertisers and marketers, we use it all the time. Understanding your reticular activating system and what you put in it. And then the last is L. And I do want to spend just a little bit more time on that with you. I'm not sure that you can see this slide, but it talks about passion. You're very busy people. We knew when we pulled all of you together and those who are listening today, you're very busy people. A lot of things catch your eye. But the key is passion. Many people say to me when I success coach, how do I know what to do with my life? And I ask them this question. What do you do that time stands still? You love it so much you lose track of time. For me, I'm working on a marketing plan for a client, a commercial script, and my husband will yell down, Katherine, hey, Seinfeld's on, it's time to go to bed. I have seriously lost all track of time because I love it. I'm wrapped up in it. That's what I need you to find. That's living with purpose. That's living with passion. You know, Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, always said that when they were in Auschwitz, they were in the concentration camp. He was a psychologist before he went into Auschwitz. But he said in Auschwitz, the way he lived, he knew his wife had probably died, but he lived on the memories. He lived on the love. So friends, check out this quote. I had a good time preparing for this, and I Googled these words, broken people are, because I figured if you were coming to this, we would all be open. And guess what it says? Broken people are dangerous. I like that, because then it says, and it follows up right there, broken people are dangerous because we can survive. So I ask you tonight, I want you to change it up, but you can't make it without 2 things. On my screen, I say respect and I say loyalty. My friend Dawn was bold. She was the girl who would not stand for injustice. She respected herself. She respected other people. That's who she was. She was amazing in my life. Great, great friend. Now, Wendy was your friend who was loyal. No matter what, she would never judge you. She would stand by you. That's who we have to be, because when moment of impact happens, I don't want you to think tonight when you walk away, Katherine's moment of impact was when her friends died. No, my moment of impact was when I figured out what to do with it and how to help other people. I didn't want to write that book. I think it's crazy it's in 4 countries. And it's crazy that people write me and say to me, oh my gosh, this happened to me. I'm not a counselor, I'm not a doctor, but I can empathize, not just sympathize, empathize. What is it in your moment of impact that's changed you? And it doesn't have to be anything horrific. It can be something that you have felt that has been bothering you. Other people share it. They need to hear what you say. You become their light. So I ask you tonight, and I challenge you, it's time to ignite your revolution. It's time to begin. Because the moment of impact, it's either happened, and as Jeff said, maybe you don't know it, but it goes right to your core, right to your purpose. What is it that you can share and be selfless? That's igniting your revolution. It's taking you to the next level. Do it with respect, do it with loyalty. Because friends, we're broken, but guess what? We're dangerous. And we will survive. Thank you.